I'm Richard Gargano, and I represent the musicians you will hear in this DVD.
But I'm with you, baby. I'm with you, rain or shine.
Born in the 1930s and 40s, we are the last ones who can remember fathers and uncles going off to war. We are the last to remember ration books for everything from sugar to shoes. We saw cars up on blocks because tires were not available. However, we grew up at the best possible time, a time when the world was getting better, not worse. The music of the Great American Songbook offered hope of better days during the Great Depression, built morale during 2 world wars, helped build social bridges within our culture, and whistled beside us during the enormous economic growth. We defended our country, raised families, and built a nation while singing these songs. The Great American Songbook, also known as American Standards, is the core of the most important and influential American popular songs and jazz standards from the early 20th century. Although several collections of music have been published under the title, it does not refer to any actual book or specific list of songs, but to a loosely defined set including the most popular and enduring songs from the 1920s to the 1950s that were created for Broadway theater, musical theater, and Hollywood musical film. You will hear samples of these songs performed on this DVD by our 4 outstanding musicians and vocalists. Although the songs have never gone out of style among the tradition and jazz singers and musicians, a renewed popular interest in Great American Songbook beginning in the 1970s has led a growing number of rock and pop singers to take an interest and issue recordings of them. Michael Feinstein, Johnny Mathis, Charlie Watts, Rod Stewart, Diana Krall, Michael Bolton, and Michael Bublé. I grew up listening to the music of the Great American Songbook, whether my mother was singing or my father playing. My father was the only member of his historic musical family that did not read music. He played many instruments by ear. If you could hum it, he could play it. My grandfather taught Tommy Dorsey, what he in turn taught Frank Sinatra. And when my brother met Sinatra in 1958 in Las Vegas and told him the family history, they became instant longtime friends. How did this happen? My brother meets Sinatra, tells him the family story, my grandfather teaching Tommy Dorsey what he in turn taught Sinatra, and my brother gets to run with the Rat Pack. Let me explain a little bit more. This photograph will help you understand. This is the Wolverine Orchestra, the first jazz band ever assembled in Detroit in 1924. This is my Uncle Tommy on the drums, Bix Beiderbecke, and Tommy Dorsey. These are the kind of musicians that would come to my grandfather's house and my grandfather would teach. Let's listen to this in Frank's own voice.
What did I learn from T-Bone Dorsey? Well, just about everything I know about phrasing and breath control. In fact, I may be the only singer who ever took vocal lessons from a trombone. Old TD could blow that thing a whole week on 1 tank of air, and I latched on to his secret. Above all, though, Tommy taught me discipline, self-discipline, total dedication to every detail of every musical effort. That doesn't mean you'd call me perfectionist.
My brother was born in Detroit, August the 3rd, 1925, upstairs at my grandfather's house. My mother brought him downstairs August the 5th, and they were greeted with an arrangement of "Oh You Beautiful Doll," written in 1911 by Seymour Brown and music by Nat Ayre, and played by my grandfather on the violin, my Uncle Tommy playing the drums, my Uncle Jimmy on the trumpet, Tommy Dorsey on the trombone, Glenn Gray playing the piano, and Russ Morgan singing. And these are the musicians that would hang out and learn from my grandfather. In our performance, you will get to view 3 different DVDs. The first is Michael Feinstein, because he is doing so much to preserve the Great American Songbook. And the second features the legendary crooner Perry Como, who was the coolest performer on TV. And the final DVD is the Johnny Mercer story. You will learn about a hopeless love romance between Johnny and Judy Garland that lasted until his death, and why he wrote I Remember You, and that Fred Astaire was a great singer, and that Laura and Skylar were 2 of the greatest songs ever written, and that Johnny started Capitol Records. Bing Crosby joined the Paul Whiteman Band in 1924, and Johnny a few years later. His band was considered the best jazz band in the 20s and 30s. A few months after my brother was serenaded by my Uncle Tommy and Jimmy and friends in 1925, my Uncle Tommy was asked to join the Whiteman Band, but he declined. My uncle in 1925 was considered the best drummer in the world. Paul Whiteman reached out to my uncle again in 1927 by way of his music director, Jack Teagarden, and my uncle agreed. And on his way to New York, he developed a pain in his ear and returned to Detroit. A week later, he died of a mastoid infection in Harper Hospital, holding my father's hand.
Skylark, have you anything to say to me? Won't you tell me where my love can be? Is there a meadow in the mist where someone's waiting to be kissed? Skylark, have you seen a valley green with spring, where my heart can go a journey over the shadows and the rain to a blossom-covered lane? And in your lonely light, haven't you heard the music in the night? Wonderful music, faint as a will-o'-the-wisp, crazy as a loon, sad as a gypsy serenading the moon. Oh, Skylark, I don't know if you can find these things, but my heart is riding on your wings. So if you see them anywhere, won't you lead me there? Oh, Skylark, I don't know if you can find these things, but my heart is riding on your wings. So if you see them anywhere, won't you lead me there? Oh, Skylark, won't you lead me there?
If your organization, club, or church would like to have a spectacular evening and have these world-class musicians entertain you, we have enclosed our contact material. We know this night will be memorable for you. We look forward to hear from you, and thanks for viewing this DVD.